like some Uruk are scared by him.
The courage of men, indeed.
Hey, did you hear? The Resistance freed the slaves from the next camp over.
Don't get your hopes. Hoping would kill you when you're under the lash.
Let darkness fall.
I suppose the talk's gone. What's going on around here? The tower's back? Everyone, stand up straight. Clean your blades. Came across some signs.
Do you hear that? For shame!
If he comes back, I'll kill him then. Wait, I saw something. Brother can't wait. It's the time.
Which way?
I'll light a signal. He's dead. I think that was the task.
I need to light the signal.
Over there!
Death to traitors!
Ring a little word! Next time, mate. Next time, I'll get you.
Haven't seen our leader in ages. Where's he hiding?
Thrown back under a rock with all the other maggots. I see the ranger. I'm gonna kill him slowly. No mercy for you freaks, kids! Look, I cut it all!
An army within Mordor.
Sauron and Saruman both.
Thank you.
Keep your mouth shut!
Down there! Go like that! You word! Kill the ghoul! It's a ghoul! You're dead! Stop moving! Keep us surrounded! Too many of us! More killed! Stay put! Cut you apart! Brave Walker! Enough brawling, you lousy maggots! Death to the talk! Take him to the ground! Tony!
You worked with Sauron. You forged the rings of power at his side.
Our motives were the same. To heal a land wounded by war. My weakness was to be seduced by evil that seemed fair.
On the bridge! You can't kill her!
Break the chains of the Dark Lord.
Must have frightened the talk away.
We gotta get more stuff to the forge. You know what happens if the quarterback is
Spears off his head.
I need to snack
Thanks to the Grey Walker, Valediction, our leader, his cowardice was exposed.
If a soft-skin can't lift 3 times its body weight, he don't deserve to live.
When I fight, there's only one thing I'm thinking of. How much I hate what I'm about to kill.
Me too. That and how much I enjoy watching them squeal for mercy when I'm done. Get him! Overwhelm him! What was that noise? Not like the beacon. Only a few more feet. Look, man, Bill. Now. What? Afraid to face me? Stay on your guard. It might come back. I can't believe he killed the hammer. The Great Walker mocks us all. Make him pay our side. Back to work, all of you! You're not eating for free! Not on my watch! Give me a shot at the danger and I'll skewer him with a spear before he knows what's in it.
That's not right. Cross blades with me!
like the sound of that.
Our archers can kill from so far away, their targets is dead before we even seize it.
They were good warriors, all of them.
One of them was a berserker, not a warrior.
Whatever they were, they shouldn't have been dumb enough to stand so close to a fire when rangers skulls around.
I was coming back from a hunt, and I heard something weird.
What kind of something? I ain't afraid of no Canagor. Next one I see, I'm gonna learn to ride it.
North Scout said there was fresh meat on the menu.
It's already been scarfed up by them other greedy globs.
Oh, I knew it! How are we supposed to fight on an empty stomach? I thought I heard something. A killer's about.
Break his bones! Afraid to face me?
One-on-one, Ranger! We'll find something to kill them. That talk knew it couldn't stop.
How is this man doing? Run over!
Back on work, then.
Fighting's in my blood. When I don't get any, it starts to boil.
What do you mean? I killed a Canagor this morning, and I'm still not satisfied.
Oi, tell us again how you killed that ranger filth.
Who's at the top? Looks like someone's killing Ulrich. I'm right behind you. He's run off. There he is! I'll kill you with my ranger! Glad to see the back of our captain. He was a useless schrock. Clearly, or he wouldn't have been torn apart by a cannon. Wait! We'll break your bones!
Did I just hear something? The courage of men indeed.
I see him! The ranger! Treachery! Imagination! I'll kill him then! What was that way? I wanted a good raw tip. Someone struck. We must have run off. What? Is that the right?
Don't move! Push him down! He's right off. We'll make a deal before our lords What was that?
That cow!
Someone's killed him.
Take you apart!
Surrender!
If he comes back, I'll kill him.
Is that behind you?
Disarm him!
Weapon drills aren't as much fun as killing slaves, but they'll keep you alive longer, that's for sure.
Welcome aboard the Disney Bundle, where Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus come to life. To your left is Heroes Lane, home to all your superheroes and classic characters from Disney Plus. Next, we stop in Hulu at The Funny District and Dramaville.
Oh, hi, Twisty.
Next up, the Winner's Circle and must-see sports from ESPN Plus. All aboard the Disney Bundle. Upgrade your entertainment with Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, all for just $13.99 a month.
Wait, what? Huh? Perhaps I spoke too soon.
Welcome back, everyone. This is my full Marvel What If video for Ultron with the Infinity Gauntlet. Press F to pay respects to the multiverse. I know there are a bunch of questions about what happened here in this end credit scene, so we'll break it all down. Brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. There's still 2 episodes left in Season 1, and we will be getting What If Season 2, and they will be incorporating the plots of the new Marvel Phase 4 movies and characters during those too. Obviously careful for spoilers if you have not seen Episode 7 yet, because this is meant to set up what's happening in the finale, like a big 2-part finale, although I know there are a lot of questions about a missing episode. They did say that there was one episode that they had to push to Season 2, just because of all the virus-related production delays that have affected the Marvel movies and the Marvel Disney Plus series. But at the end of this episode, in this alternate universe, Party Thor seems like he gets a happy ending, a stark contrast to almost every single other universe, every episode that we've seen so far on What If. If you never read the Marvel What If comics, the whole idea is that they all have downer endings, like it's all meant to be very WTF twist at the end, very dark endings. The showrunner said she wanted this episode to feel a little bit lighter in tone, even though we still got the WTF ending. It felt like an overall kind of happy episode. Like they have the record scratch moment at the end where the watcher's like, wait, what? So if it wasn't clear, in every single episode, we've been visiting different universes that have all been based on different Nexus events, different things going down differently in the original main MCU timeline, the Sacred Timeline. But the other big difference from the Marvel What If comics is that on the What If series, everything is meant to eventually cross over. So even though they treated the episodes like they were kind of one-offs, they were meant to eventually cross over. So the Multiverse Avengers team that's going to be forming to face Ultron here with the Infinity Stones in Vision's body, they'll be the main characters from most of the other episodes. So most of the big characters are all coming back from each of the episodes, like T'Challa Star-Lord, obviously Party Thor here, the darker version of Doctor Strange, however you want to call him, Doctor Strange Supreme. But I know one of the biggest questions that everyone had the minute that Ultron came marching through that portal from another universe with the Infinity Stones in his army is, where did he come from, like what's his story, and how do his Infinity Stones from another universe work in alternate universes? So the Marvel What If showrunner, AC Bradley, admitted at a couple points in previous episodes that she kind of messed up a couple of small things because of the way they produce the show, because of the way they make all the Disney Plus series. They kind of want to have their multiverse crossover cake and eat it too, without going too deep or technical on the rules of how everything works. It's kind of a WandaVision situation. If you remember during WandaVision, there was all that craziness with the Mephisto theories, obviously that didn't wind up going down, but at the end of the day, the showrunner on WandaVision claimed she had no idea who Mephisto was, and like she wasn't a big comic book person. So if there were a couple minor continuity errors or just things that didn't completely add up based on what you've seen so far in the MCU, that's usually where stuff like that comes from. Just like the writers not fully understanding the Marvel canon or not being longtime comic book readers. So the idea with the What If series is that it is supposed to be canon to the MCU or the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, like a live-action version of Captain Carter, played by Haley Atwell, is supposed to show up in the Marvel movies in the future at some point. Any one of these characters is fair game to show up in live action. That's the whole idea they explain in the series. Make all the jokes you want about how everything is technically canon now because of the multiverse. Thank you very much, Loki and Sylvie. But because What If is meant to be a multiverse crossover series and they wanted Ultron to be the big bad, they needed to give him a really big power-up, so they wanted him to be a version of Ultron who, in his reality, did wind up getting Vision's body and all 6 Infinity Stones. For those of you asking who he sacrificed to get the Soul Stone, who would Ultron love, theoretically, it would have been Vision. Like, he was taking his body, so he needed to kill him anyway, so two birds with one stone. He sacrificed him to get the Soul Stone, but then just transferred his consciousness into his body. Because when you're sacrificing someone for the Soul Stone, you don't have to destroy their body, they just have to die. I also love the placement of the Infinity Stones. Notice that the Mind Stone is still in his forehead because he basically just took Vision's body, so he didn't need to take the Mind Stone out of his forehead the way that Thanos ripped it out of his forehead. This is so basically what his ultimate plan would have been in the main MCU timeline had he taken Vision's body. Eventually, he would have learned about the other Infinity Stones and then absorbed them into himself as well, becoming a living Infinity Gauntlet. But because they wanted this big multiverse crossover and they wanted him to have the Infinity Stones, they just kind of waved their hand and said, you know what, we're going to say these Infinity Stones do work in alternate universes because they'd have to in order for this big twist to work. So yes, it is kind of a continuity error per the rules of the Marvel Universe. And I know there's still lots of questions about Loki, like how did Kang use his powers inside the TVA to negate the power of the Infinity Stones from a bunch of different timelines and realities? When it comes to the Infinity Stones and the TVA on Loki, they're actually a little bit more accurate on the Loki series to Marvel canon. The way they explain how Kang created the TVA is that he created it to be this little pocket outside of the main timeline, so that it's not completely affected by every little change to the main MCU timeline, the sacred timeline. And in the Marvel Universe, one of the big rules is that the Infinity Stones only work in the universe that they came from. So if Tom Holland's MCU Peter Parker Spider-Man got the Infinity Stones somehow and then jumped into an alternate universe of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, his Infinity Gauntlet would not work in Tobey Maguire's universe. For those of you asking about Avengers Endgame, there are a lot of people that are getting the plot of Avengers Endgame a little bit wrong when they talk about where their Infinity Stones came from. So the Avengers stole the Infinity Stones from their same timeline. They're always in the same timeline when they're going backwards and forwards. So all the Infinity Stones that Iron Man is using when he snaps the Infinity Gauntlet, when Hulk snapped the Infinity Gauntlet to bring everyone back, all those Infinity Stones are from the same timeline, which is why they work, even though they took them from different points in that timeline. When they go back in time, like back to the 1970s, this is not an alternate universe. It's the same universe, same timeline, just an earlier point in the timeline. They don't treat it like an alternate universe. So at the end of Avengers Endgame, when Captain America is taking all the Infinity Stones back, he's not taking them back to alternate universes, he's just taking them back to earlier points in the timeline to clip the branches of the sacred timeline, so to speak. If he hadn't have done that, the TVA Kang would have come back and done it for them. That's why he didn't get arrested by the TVA. So the reason why the Infinity Stones from anywhere do not work inside the TVA, no matter where you bring them, is because it's treated like a completely separate pocket universe. It's all part of the elegant way that Kang weaves the sacred timeline together and keeps people from messing with the TVA, mostly. Obviously, Loki and Sylvie mess with the TVA, but that was all part of his preordained plan. Like, he wanted things to play out that way. He wanted to find out if they were worthy successors, so that's why he let them mess with the TVA. So when you're talking about the What If series with this multiverse version of Ultron with the Infinity Stones, that is kind of a continuity error, but you could bend over backwards and say, well, because it's What If, they wanted a version of the Infinity Stones from an alternate reality to work differently. So even though I think that's being a little too generous, that would be the one way you could explain that this works and is not a continuity error. Really, it doesn't bother me that much because obviously they're not going to start doing this with Infinity Stones in all the Marvel movies and all the other Marvel Disney Plus series. Like, they're just going to be talking about these Infinity Stones, this version of Ultron, on the What If series. So now I know you're all asking, because this is meant to be canon to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what does this version of Ultron, who's trying to conquer the multiverse, have to do with the Kang multiverse war? Like, obviously, while this is all going on, you have all these versions of Kang running around trying to destroy everyone else's universe. Like I said, the showrunner on the What If series said that they had to start working on this before they had written the Loki series. So there are a couple inconsistencies with the way they refer to things. Like, she says that they would have talked more about Nexus events if they would have known the way the Loki series was going to explain how this stuff works. But because the multiverse is meant to be infinite universes, the way I'm treating this is that this version of Ultron is just in a different part of the multiverse than where most of the Kang multiverse war is playing out at the moment. But I think what'll happen now, though, is that with What If Season 2, Season 3, however many future seasons they do of the show, you will start to see versions of Kang show up during What If, alternate universe versions of the character incorporated into the plots of episodes. I think one of the reasons why Kang wasn't featured during What If Season 1 is because they had to start the series before Marvel had announced that Kang was going to be the main villain of Ant-Man 3, or before they even did the Loki series. So the What If people did not know that Kang was going to be a character in the MCU when they started working on the episodes. But like I said, because of that multiverse explainer that I gave earlier, it still works. Like, it doesn't have to be a continuity error that they don't address the Kang multiverse war. So basically what's going to happen in the final 2 episodes is that they'll slowly bring together this multiverse Avengers team with the main characters from all the other different episodes. That's what all the trailer footage of them teaming up, having their Avengers Assemble moments are from. The way they explain it is that anybody is fair game to come back during Season 2, but the one confirmed character that will come back during Season 2 so far is Captain Carter. Like, the Guardians of the Multiverse Avengers team roster will be slightly different during Season 2. I know a lot of you are asking what happened to the Iron Man on Sakaar episode. They did say that one episode from Season 1 had to get pushed to Season 2 because of the virus shutdown delays. Unless Episode 8 is going to be that Iron Man Sakaar episode, that is probably the episode that got pushed to Season 2. And I think that that's where this version of Gamora was going to come from, Gamora wearing Thanos' armor. I think part of the idea is that a version of Iron Man was going to be fighting a version of Gamora inside the Contest of Champions during that episode. They haven't said anything about who the main villain of Season 2 is going to be, but I know a lot of you are asking, will they do mutants and X-Men characters in Season 2? I'm not expecting a bunch of those just because they're already working on the Season 2 episodes right now, and they have not introduced any like huge mainstream X-Men characters in the MCU yet that we know of. So I think you won't start seeing a bunch of mutants and X-Men characters on the What If series until we get at least 1 or 2 movies with a bunch of X-Men characters. But during Season 2, we'll probably see some Eternals, some Shang-Chi characters, new characters from Thor Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, maybe other versions of Loki and Sylvie. And like I said, yes, we will probably see versions of Kang show up in future seasons. But if you have any questions about what's going on in the final episodes, just let me know in the comments below and I'll incorporate those into my future bonus videos. My full What If Episode 8 video will post next Wednesday, just like normal. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up, a bunch of big Netflix trailers this weekend too. They're doing their big Comic-Con event. Make sure alerts enabled for my channel so you don't miss any of those videos. Everyone, click here for my full Marvel What If Episode 7 video, and click here for my brand new Eternals trailer video for Kit Harington's Black Knight character. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. You say, well, because it's What If, they wanted a version of the Infinity Stones from an alternate reality to work differently. So even though I think that's being a little too generous, that would be the one way you could explain that this works and is not a continuity error. Really, it doesn't bother me that much because obviously they're not going to start doing this with Infinity Stones